Hi there. I'm going to talk this morning about personal paradigm shift. That's the title, the ninth wave personal paradigm shift. But before I go there, I want to talk about my son's band, Elephant Gun. I went to hear them again last night, and I got the opportunity to talk to several people that were hearing them for the first time. Absolutely blown away by their music. As one lady said, "This is the first time I've ever heard them, but I'm a fan." Their music is awesome, and for those of you that watched all the way through yesterday's video, toward the end I talked about my son's band and asked people to, especially those on Facebook, to vote. I'd like to be able to put links to their music on YouTube, but YouTube doesn't allow links, or at least not that I can figure out how to do it. It always says error. Try again whenever I try to post a link on any comment, which I think is really stupid because you can't even post links to other YouTube videos, which is what I would try to do. But in any case, a lot of my friends are voting for Elephant Gun. They are in first place now in this international competition to get an all-expense paid trip to Nashville and some other prizes in mid-July, and I think July 22nd, which I think is a Friday night. Anyway, for those of you that have taken time to listen to some of their music and to vote for them, it's much appreciated. The voting continues. It will continue through the end of the month of June. And right now, as I said, there are 100 votes in first place. The band in England, I understand, is a very good band. Elephant Gun speaks very highly of their music. I truthfully have not even listened to their music, which shame on me, I guess. I have a bias toward my son's band for obvious reasons. But to a man, everyone in Elephant Gun that I talked to last night, including my son, just talk very highly of the band that's been running neck and neck with them in this competition. But they are both awesome bands. I mean, I'm taking their word for it that the other band is an awesome band. And I'm sure all five of them are pretty good in their own right. But there are only two bands that are really working in this competition to win, or at least that's what it appears at this point in time, with still half the month to go, a little less than half the month to go in the month of June in the voting. So those of you that take time to vote, once again, I thank you. And you're going to need to go to YouTube, go to Facebook rather, in order to get the links to their music and be able to hear for yourself some of the things that they do. It was funny. My son got a shirt. I don't know when he got it, but he had it on last night. It said, "I'm moving with Jesus," which I thought, oh, Tommy, you got saved. Tongue-in-cheek humor, because I know where my son is, and I know where my family is. And my family's been so wounded by Christianity, by the way that my sister, especially my one sister, has treated me for such a long time, that Christianity is not a very appealing option to them in their thinking, because not only has my that sister and other members of my family ostracized me, they've ostracized to some extent my children, although that's not as universal as it is toward me. Anyway, I say all that merely as way of introduction to what I'm going to be talking about today, which is the personal paradigm shift. And the little blurb that I wrote is, why am I on the edge of a void? Here's a powerful reason. How I see the world is changing because of what I am learning. It's nothing short of a paradigm shift that leaves me insecure and anxious, not knowing where to stand in regard to the shifting sands in this ninth wave of the evolution of consciousness. For only a little over a week, I've been listening every day to audios of workshops and programs in the living temple of the Creditors-in-Commerce website. That's Creditors-in-Commerce website. And the Living Temple series is taught pretty much by a man named Brandon, and I think his last name is Smith. I could be wrong. I know there was a Smith in there. There's 3 people that teach the classes, and I know at least one of them is a Smith, maybe 2. But Brandon is an amazing teacher. And when I first heard sort of like the introduction, going back to I think the site goes back, the audios go back to 2009, so it's been going on for a couple of years at least. But he talks about the world that we live in and the court system and the monetary system, and he said it's absolutely a perfect system. And maritime law and admiralty law operates under grace, whereas common law operates under absolute law. The law is the law, and there's no wiggle room. There's no grace, there's no mercy. The mercy all exists in maritime law. Now, I hated hearing that, and I totally disagreed with it. And I want you to know, I totally disagreed with that. In fact, I stopped listening. That was the first video, or first audio rather, in the Living Word series from 2009, or Living Temple, not Living Word, Living Temple. And I moved on to workshops in Atlanta and Boston, and listened to every audio from the Boston workshop in 2010, and most of the ones in the 2010 workshop in Atlanta, and other audios that are available on that Creditors-in-Commerce website. And I get it. I'm really getting it. That indeed the current system of law and money has a lot of grace in it. I'm learning things that I never knew. I never knew that the de facto courts, for example, are both common law and admiralty law. And that under common law we are sovereigns. And under admiralty law we are debtors. Under common law we are creditors. And what is a creditor? A creditor is a person who has unlimited resources at his disposal if he knows what they are. A creditor is a person who has the ability to forgive debt and to operate in the world through grace, to manifest in the world love. A person operating as a creditor in the world has the ability to forgive debt. In the admiralty world, everything is prepaid. Everything is prepaid. The debts have all been forgiven, but you'd have to know how to access your account. And it's there for everyone. In one of the more recent videos that I keep saying videos, they're audios because I didn't watch any videos. There are videos available on the website. I didn't watch a single one. You have to pay for the audio, the video. You have to pay for the videos. You don't have to pay for the audios. I've been listening to audios. But he talked about the Declaration of Human Rights proclaimed by the United Nations, which applies to every man and woman and child in the world, that there are certain human rights that are ours. They are sovereign rights recognized by the United Nations. Now, I know a lot of people in the sovereignty movement and the freedom movement, the free man on the land movement, and all of those things. I know how they hate the United Nations, and they hate the New World Order. They hate the big government, and the liberal creation of administration of admiralty law. I did too. I did too, but I'm seeing it with different eyes because of Brandon's teaching, because of the Living Temple teachings, because of the creditors-in-commerce teaching. I'm seeing it with different eyes. The remedy is there for each of us and every one of us to become a creditor, to become a sovereign within the current system, not changing and trying to destroy the current system. He says if you destroy the system, you're going to create anarchy. People are not going to feel secure if we were totally living under common law. That's what his teaching is. And I still don't get 100% everything. I still haven't been able to put all the pieces together. But in my heart, I am getting it. I am getting it. A creditor always acts with honor, never with dishonor. Always acts when someone says they have a debt. A creditor always agrees with the person who says they have the debt. It may be a conditional agreement. All right, I agree with you, and if you fulfill these things, I will honor the debt. I will honor the debt. You have to show me it's a real debt, that it's really my debt. You have to show me that it's mine, and if it's really mine, I will pay my debt. I will pay my debt. And a creditor knows it has access to an unlimited trust in each of our names. An unlimited trust. We have to know how to use it, and it's not about beating anybody out of anything. It's not about taking anything from anyone else. It's not about winning a war or even a battle. It's not about those things. It's about knowing how to live in this world and not be exactly of the world. Because what is the world? What is the commonality in our world? The commonality is that we are victims or victimizers. And even the victimizers are victims of their own belief in scarcity, of their own fear of not being in control. Everyone in this world is a victim or a victimizer. Everyone in this world is a debtor. That's how we experience the world. In that, there is the remedy to become a creditor, to have a prepaid account, prepaid by heaven and operating on earth. The debtor part is the shadow part. It's the shadow part of reality. And when you see that there's been grace given whereby we can be free, even in this world, free to operate in the kingdom of heaven on earth, free to operate on the private side of the law, understanding the difference between the private side and the public side. In the private side, you have your unalienable rights, your unalienable rights. You have your republic. You have divine justice meted out. But you have to know how to work the system. On the public side, there is no freedom. There will never be freedom because you're a debtor. You're a slave. It's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. And the more I've listened to Brandon, the more I realize it makes perfect sense. So I'm involved in a personal paradigm shift that not only changes how I see the world and how I see myself in the world, but ultimately it already is absolutely empowering me to live in the kingdom of heaven right now on this earth, with the government not making any visible changes right away, although I know that the changes that are happening in me are happening in many others, and inevitably it will spread to the visible world. So I'm sharing this with you today to give you an idea of why I've been so silent lately, because I've been wrestling with these concepts. I've been trying to understand this concept of living as a creditor. I'm not a creditor because I filed papers last year. I'm a creditor because of an attitude, because of a perception of how I see myself in the world and how I see the world. And I'm seeing the world with a whole lot less injustice than I saw it before. It may be, in fact, perfect justice, that everyone is given according to their consciousness. Everyone receives according to their consciousness. What you believe is real is the way you will experience that reality. You will experience it. If you think the world's against you, then you are against the world. And you will perceive that in your experience. You will witness that. You will experience that. That's the way it works. Anyway, I've gone overtime this morning. Again, thank those of you that vote for my son's band, Elephant Gun, on Facebook, and wish I could make it available on YouTube. But I've given you something to think about, because I've had a lot to think about over the past little more than a week. Namaste. Have a beautiful Sunday. Bless you.